Hey, and we're back. Hour number 2, and joining us this hour, a man who has just washed the popcorn off his hands and probably is ready to sit down and practice punching that electronic voting machine again to vote for, and we'll fill in the blank a little later, a man who continues to persevere through relentless absurdity, the master of trends, Gerald Celente.
Hey, Jeff. Thank you so much.
Good to have you back. Well, another exercise in nauseating political theater. Two men so primed to the gills with machine-inputted information to spew back to the TV audience about made you sick. Wonder how many times they practiced their closing remarks, that little speechlet at the end. God, it amazes me. It's the same old crap we've heard for virtually 2 years. And they sit there and not an original thought between them. Did you see any passion? No. Did you hear anything unique? No. And the folks listening in, you guys know what's going on as well as we do. Your thoughts, Gerald, as if I couldn't probably write most of them up myself.
Well, the executive editor of the TrendsJournal, John Anthony West, of course, noted for his work on the mystery
wonderful
of the
guy.
Sphinx. Yeah.
Yep.
We've been working together, by the way, since 1983.
You're kidding.
No, he's 80 years old.
I had no idea.
Oh, yeah. He comes into work every day. He drives about a half hour. And, he's a great guy.
He's super.
Side by side and write.
Wow.
The whole TrendsJournal, this whole TrendsJournal, this last one, the autumn edition.
Autumn edition, yeah.
Yeah, it's 48 pages, great illustrations by Anthony Frieda. And John and I, with the exception of Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, who also contributes, we wrote 90% of this one, sitting side by side, as we always do. And we've never laughed so hard. Because, as you know from the cover, it's the lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
And making fun of these guys, I mean, it's so easy. So anyway, after he watched the debate tonight, I called him just before I got on the air with you, and I said, "What'd you think, John?" And he said, quote, "It demonstrates the idiocy of the entire process."
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. He's just summed it all up.
He summed it all up.
That's the.
How can anybody believe this stuff?
No.
How could any self-respecting person take these little boys seriously?
Precisely. That's what they are, little boys. And the best part for me was when Romney and Barkey were trying to shake hands with the audience over the edge of the stage after the conclusion of the debate.
I wasn't watching it.
My God, that was the best part. Both of them almost fell into the audience, and their wives had to pull them back. Mittens almost fell right over head first, and it looked like a rock concert. They were glad-handing it with the front row. Rockaholics, and they were leaning over so far their wives, especially Romney's wife, had to actually grab him around the waist and pull him back. He would have fallen. So anyway, that was my highlight. But
I loved it. I tweeted the entire debate. I tweeted as it goes along. This is great. It's so powerful, Twitter, to use it in a good way. And I have a lot of I've had about 33,000 people that follow me. So it's great, and it's funny stuff. Yeah. Like today, I came out with a line. This is my favorite line. It was at the end of the debate. This guy Bob Schieffer, the guy that's from CBS, right?
I wonder if they carried him out to put him in that chair. Jeez.
Well, he's famous. I'll never forget the last time I went over the edge, but this time it was too funny. He also was the prostitute that they used for the last Bush-Kerry debate. So now here it is. I mean, things are really, things are tense back then. And we're talking 2004. The United States is only, a year into the Iraq War, 2.5 years into the Afghan War.
Right.
There's still that 9/11 vibe in the air. And the last question that this guy asks, he says, the three of us have something in common. And I said to myself, how the hell did he get in the middle of this? This is a debate between... He goes, the three of us have strong wives, Oh, great.
Oh, my God.
Oh, great.
All right.
Oh, that's terrific.
Yeah.
The three of you have strong wives.
That really
Oh,
helps.
yeah, there's a name for that. The second word is whipped. So anyway, his final word, here's my tweet. Prostitute gets final word. Quote, this is Schieffer now. In the words of my mom, go vote. It makes you feel big and strong. To which I tweet, yeah, it's called jerking off.
So
I added the part. It's called jerking off.
The punchline.
Go vote. It makes you feel big and strong, just like beating off. What are you kidding? You get nothing by voting.
Yeah,
this is a big lie, telling everybody to go out and vote. You're going to vote for one of these two fools? You call yourself a man or a woman, and you would bend so low to look up to these two little boys? This debate was very important. We could joke about it, but this debate was the most important of all of them. Because they're talking about foreign policy. Mm-hmm. And the first great war of the 21st century has begun. This is no joke. There's a war in Libya. There's a war, and that Obama bragging about, well, we did to Gaddafi, and I love it, to save the women, to save the women. Oh, yeah, no veils over. What are you talking about? So here they do. They start these wars. Now one's talking about more arms to this one. Romney, I tweeted, buy military stock in military-industrial complex companies. If Romney gets in, that's all he's talking about. So what I'm saying, Jeff, this is very serious. Because what this debate was about, my first tweet was, which one of these are going to get us killed the quickest?
Quickest, yeah. Oh, yeah, agreed. That's very well said, and I think you've summed up. That was, if there was an essence to this, that is the essence.
Yeah, and it's serious. We could joke about it. This is serious.
No, it's deadly serious.
This is life and death.
Yeah, deadly serious. Absolutely. By the way, Romney's remark about putting Ahmadinejad on trial for allegedly thinking about genocide.
Yeah. So I tweeted, how about bringing up Bush, Cheney, Rumsfeld, Powell?
The real killers.
Yeah, for giving us, for starting a war and killing all those people for fake reasons. How about that one?
Well, they've committed a Holocaust. We've got 2 million to 3 million dead in Afghanistan, at least 2 million dead in Iraq since Bush 41. That's 5. Let's throw on some miscellaneous, and we're pretty well in the ballpark, aren't we? Around 6 million again? No one talks about that.
Nope.
The Israelis killed more Palestinians yesterday. We killed Yemenis today with our drones, our little boys and girls in their joystick video game controls and their sanitized air-conditioned offices, slaughtering people. We killed more in Pakistan. We killed 8 or 9 more in Afghanistan. And this is what we hear about.
Yeah,
this is what we hear about. Because our Zionist press will tell us.
Well, it's not. It's again. It's more than that. Yeah, it's more than that. This is a social disease, and it prevails in every nation. I told you the story about how I came back from Berlin, and it was the grandest. We talked about this. It was the grandest city I've ever seen. I could imagine before the war, grander than Paris. I said, how could the Germans let this thing get bombed out? They were at the top of civilization in the 1930s. How could they let a two-bit freak like Adolf Hitler lead them? And you and I are Italian descent. Look at the people that we have in our heritage.
Right.
Michelangelo, Da Vinci, Puccini, Rossini, Caruso. And we eat a lot better than the Germans. How can we let a cartoon character like Mussolini destroy the nation? How could they let them do it? How could Americans let two-bit freaks like Bush and Cheney and Clintons and Obamas and Romneys lead us to destruction? Unless that you think that they're better than you are, and they know better than you are, and their mother's better than you are. So only speaking for myself, their mother's not better than mine. And just so to keep it polite, let's call it even. I don't need these people telling me how to think. And what I know is that by their deeds and actions, they are going to have us all destroyed because you listen to their foreign policy. Both of them said, if Israel is attacked, we will join the war. And in Florida, which is a key state where this debate was being held, Romney has to win Florida and Ohio according to the electoral polls.
So which one was more Jewish to the Florida Jewish vote? That's what they were
it's bigger
playing.
than that. They're running commercials with Netanyahu on Florida TV drawing the red line on the cartoon bomb.
Huh. Well, he'll probably be doing commercials for Romney, too, before it's over.
Well, that's what it is.
I see.
But they don't say that.
Uh-huh. Yeah, same thing. I got it. I get the picture. Yeah, it's all pretty grim. And as I watched the closing of the debate, I was amazed to see Romney's wife grab him and pull him back. And it was a picture of a woman who was very wise and a foolish man who was leaning towards celebrity to try to reach his fans.
Huh.
It looked very, very interesting when you look at who was really in charge there, pulling him back from falling on his face. All right, hold on, gang. There, we'll be right back with Gerald in just a couple of minutes. Don't forget to go to his website, TrendsResearch.com, and the next edition, Gerald, the winter edition.
Oh, the winter, we just sent the autumn out a week ago. That's the one with the lesser of two evils.
I hope everyone gets that. And the point is, you've got the guidance of this man and his brilliant staff all year round. So go there and take a look, and we'll be right back. Okay, right back with Gerald. The so-called election coming up in a little over 2 weeks now, and you have put out the autumn edition of the TrendsJournal, and you put out some trend alerts. What do you want to tell people about the election? Then I want to talk about Benghazi a little bit. What are your counsel to people? What is it saying now, Gerald?
Well, you know that I never tell people what to believe. The motto of the TrendsJournal, taught to me by my dear father, may his soul rest in peace. Every time I was shooting my mouth off and didn't know what I was talking about, he'd say to me in Italian, "Pappagallo, parrot, stop repeating what everybody else is saying and think for yourself."
Mm-hmm.
So what I say is only this is the way I see it. So don't get anybody doesn't like it. It's fine. I don't care.
Take it or leave it.
I'm not telling anybody what to think. I got my own trip going on. And for me, I'm not voting. I won't be a part of this. And people say if you don't vote, you get what you deserve. If you vote, you get exactly what you deserve. An empty suit that's invisible and that's deceptive and lying and evil. The way he bragged about killing Gaddafi and Osama.
Yeah.
I saw the aim or something and took the shot. I took an aim and pulled the trigger, something like that. What, are you kidding? So.
Well, we got to remember he does this with his drone pilots all the time. He checks off and
Terror
signs
Tuesday.
off. Yeah, exactly.
And so, I'm not going to vote for that. And then Romney, of course, all he talks about is getting more money for the military-industrial complex and how, Israel. Did I tell you about Israel? I forgot to tell you about Israel. Let's talk about Israel. I have a thing or two I want to say about Israel. So he keeps going on about that. And Iran. Iran is now the world's greatest threat. I didn't know that, but now that he tells me, and I tweeted, I said, with the all these people he wants to kill, would the Mormon Jesus approve of that? I don't know what the Mormon Jesus stands for, but hey, is this guy a killer too? Because they made Jesus Christ a killer out of the other Christians make a killer out of him. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if they are too. So what does it mean? It means, only speaking for myself, I will not vote for a lesser of two evils, because evil, lesser or greater, still equals evil. And the God that I believe in, I believe, would call it a sin if I voted for an evil. So I'm not voting.
When was the last time we had a chance to vote for someone who wasn't evil? Jimmy Carter?
Nah. Well, I used to believe, Jeff, I'll vote for the other guy, and I used to vote for Ralph Nader or, somebody like that.
Yeah.
And then I realized that's just participating in the system, and that's like throwing you a bone so that you think that you have a choice at democracy. This isn't democracy. It's a rigged game. I'll tell you what got me tight right off. And they all do it in all of these debates. Bob Schieffer goes, I selected the questions, and nobody knows these questions, you selected the question. Who the hell are you? Who the hell is this guy? Oh, the fate of 312 million people lie on one of these two little jerks, and this prostitute gets to ask the questions that asks the same stupid question at the other debate. All three of us have strong wives, and this one says, if my mother told me, go to vote, it makes you feel big and strong.
Amazing.
What are you, a little kid?
Right, he's senile, something. This is bad. It's bad political theater. It really is grim. I liked it when you called them little boys, because I looked at them and I had that same general impression. Here are these little boys trying to beat each other up with words, and it's not working. There were no questions about Obama's birth certificate. There were no real questions about Bain Capital and what it's really doing and has always done. There were no questions about Obama's real father and his Marxist background. None of this. This all off the table. You don't talk about these things. These are all the debates are agreed to in advance. They know where they're going to go, what questions are going to be asked. It's all theater. It's a cheap melodrama, crap soap opera, tabloid, political theater. Nothing more. Garbage.
Well, I disagree with you. I think you gave it too high a ranking.
No, thank you. I'm not going to argue that.
I say it's less than that.
Yeah, okay.
I say this is bad high school. Bad high school, two guys.
Well, a good high school debate would have been better than this. Come on.
This is like, I saw at Gorton High School in Yonkers, when two guys were going after the... Oh, and then they were going to get tough with the principal, They were going to ask tough questions to the principal.
Right.
These are...
No, it was grim.
I know.
And grimmer.
But this was, I'm telling you, Jeff, as I say it, this was the most important of the debates because war is deadly.
Oh, absolutely. I concur. I do. I got to go back to, I got to go back to his comment, though. What the hell is wrong with Romney's brain that he would say something so stupid? He's obviously trying to lick more Zionist boots by this put Ahmadinejad on trial for thinking about genocide, or so I forget the construction he used.
I that's what I said. How about bringing Bush and Cheney up for war crimes?
I mean, this is absurd. Talk about misdirection and projection.
They're out of their mind.
They are.
These are. Yeah. Look, this guy has been running for president ever since he was,
at Stanford.
Yeah.
Probably. And I wouldn't be surprised at all. I mean, he knew he had it in his potential destiny because of his lineage and all of it. You're right. You're totally right. Hold on just a sec. We'll take a break and let Gerald get a drink of water. We'll come right back. I do want to talk about this Benghazi thing and how that's unraveling in Obama and Hillary's laps now. Very ugly situation there. I'm not ignoring for a moment the 30,000 dead Syrian men, women, and children that we have caused, ladies and gentlemen, if not directly paid for the murder of. But this Benghazi thing is just another example of the duplicity. Nah, it's not duplicity, it's triplicity or quadruplicity. I mean, how many lies can this onion have? It goes on and on. Be right back in just a couple. Okay, let's get right back to it. The Benghazi caper continues to unravel like an onion. It's got layer after layer. We're getting actually quite a few of the layers now exposed. I'm surprised. There's obviously some kind of an effort to do so. to the best efforts of the Obama administration, this issue has been subverted. Anything but reality has been allowed to be explained or exposed or revealed by the administration. But now we know that drones were flying overhead watching the entire thing while Stevens was calling for help. Help was not forthcoming. So we were watching this, maybe live in the Pentagon. Maybe Obama was watching it live. Maybe Hillary was. We don't know. But they had drones overhead, at least one. We also know now that the so-called consulate was a training base for Islamist fundamentalist jihadists, which were then apparently being sent off to kill people in Syria. So this was an arms transshipment center or a facilitator thereof, and one of the people who was supposedly guarding the place says, we weren't here to guard it, we were here to get trained. These are jihadis. So this is a CIA operation. Stevens was CIA. We know that now. And it's not a surprise to any of us who've been following this kind of thing. All State Department diplomatic missions are essentially CIA offices. That's a given. This is a particularly dirty issue. And then the story later today comes out that some of these Syrian terrorists, which is exactly what the hell they are, they're just terrorist killers, are being paid for with U.S. dollars. Treasury bills, talk about the ironic nature of that. Little Benny Bernanke's T-bills, his little T-notes, called dollars and whatever, currency, paying for these killers in Syria. We pay for it all the time. How many billions of dollars were talked about, Gerald, in Iraq that were flown in by airplane to buy off the opposition? We didn't win the Iraq War. We paid off the people who were killing the American soldiers. Billions of dollars were flown in by aircraft, and billions disappeared. So it's the same old story. The Fed prints the money to enforce the policies of the City of London banking cartel, which really oversees and runs much of the corporatocracy that is the so-called New World Order, and it's all promulgated on the dollar bill.
You know, you've heard me say it many, many times. Follow the timeline. The crash of 29, the Great Depression, currency wars, trade wars,
Sure.
War.
Yeah.
The Panic of '08, the Great Depression, currency wars. As they were talking about China, I was tweeting, and I repeated just what I just said now, and I said, trade wars, world war.
Uh-huh.
I did the tweet, and so help me, not more than a half a minute later, Romney said, this is a trade war.
Yep, I heard him.
And next is world war. And I say this with so much concern that we've all heard the saying, generals fight, they're always fighting the last war. So, like World War I, they were still on horseback, a lot of the guys.
Right.
And then World War II, we know about the Maginot Line. The Germans flew over it. And the next war, the first great war of the 21st century, or World War III, it'll be fought totally different, and no one will escape it. When I wrote Trends 2000 back in 1996, I front-loaded it with the breakup of the former Soviet Union. And one of the things that I wrote about was all of these weapons of mass destruction that were being sold on the black market. People forget about this stuff. All the suitcase-sized nukes. And now it's advanced since then. And now you have biological warfare. You have dirty bombs.
It's all on the shelf.
It won't be a place worth living anywhere.
No. Look what Fukushima has done to the Northern Hemisphere and soon to be the Southern Hemisphere.
So have a Fukushima in every major city that you could imagine. These people this is going to truly be Armageddon. But guess what? Ain't going to be nobody coming down in no chariots to drag you away. I mean, it will be curtains. And as I said, my first tweet was how important this debate is, and which one of these two maniacs will get us killed the fastest. That's
right.
My tweet. And my conclusion is, it's a tie.
Works for me. I agree with you. Obama let's just call them Obamni, both
or
of them.
Obama.
There you go. They're all, look, they're taking us to the same conclusion. The same finish line is ahead for both of them, and it's war. And if you don't see it, you're not looking.
And I got to tell you, man, I want to like roll over when Obama goes into, I'm the commander-in-chief.
Oh, please.
I'm the commander.
Neither
and
one
I got to
of them.
make the decisions as the commander-in-chief. Take it easy, Junior.
Yeah.
Just cool out.
Yeah.
Commander-in-chief. And people think these people, oh, yeah, they went to commander-in-chief school. Yeah, that's it. They know exactly what they're doing. Yeah. These guys haven't won a war. The military in the United States has not won a major war. They didn't serve in the military. World War II.
Neither one of them were in the military.
And the military has not won a war in this country since World War II. They got their behinds kicked in Korea.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They wasted 58,000 American lives in Vietnam.
Maybe 65, whatever.
Yeah, and hundreds of thousands ruined, physical damage, and probably millions mentally.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, there was I forgot Grenada. Yeah, they had a big win in Grenada, you guys. Yeah, you got
We socked it to them, didn't we?
Yeah, woof. Man, they just mowed over them. Can't forget Noriega over there in Panama either.
Another big win.
Another big one. Then, of course, there's Afghanistan, a lovely war.
12 years.
And how did you hear Romney brag and bolster Obama for the troop surge?
I missed that one. I'm revolted to hear that he did that. Oh, jeez.
And then there's Iraq, another beauty. Oh, and now Libya. Wonderful, wonderful conditions there. Everything is hunky-dory. They got rid of that bad guy. They got rid of that Gaddafi. Couldn't have been for the light sweet crude they got over there, could it? Nah.
Well, we know now that Iraq has the world's second largest known reserves of petroleum.
Yep. Second. Well, that's been known.
I knew that. Well, you knew that, too.
Yeah.
You knew that before the first Iraq War. We knew that, and it was hushed up quickly.
Yep.
So that was the game from the beginning.
Well, that's not... No, Jeff, you're wrong. It was to give them women the rights.
That's right. Democracy and free women. Suffrage for women.
Now in this, They brought it in there now. It's to give these women the rights.
Yeah.
So I say anybody who wants to go give these women the rights and bring freedom and democracy, lead the charge. Send yourself, send your wife, send your kids, send your money. Commander-in-Chief, you guys go lead the war. Keep me out of your psycho trip. Because these guys, as I said, they have not won anything. They keep getting defeated despite spending trillions of dollars. And now they're going to get us into the war that will really end all wars, because it may well end civilization as the way we know it. And this is no joke. This is no science fiction, theory. This is fact.
Right in front of us, folks. Right in front of us. Back in just a minute with Gerald. Okay, and talking to Gerald about the state of affairs, which are quite clearly pointing toward a catastrophic war, the worst war that probably the world will ever see and survive in one form or another, if it survives at all. Look what Fukushima has done to the northern hemisphere. This is one nuclear power plant, 4 reactors. Now, we have in this country 104 reactors, all right, something like that, and any one of them could be turned into a Fukushima with one terrorist or someone in a small plane flying it, packed with C4 or some other explosive, packed right into the plane and flown into a nuclear power plant control room. That's all you have to do. Take it out. Gone. We'll have the same situation. 2 or 3. That's why this whole 9/11 thing, Gerald, is so ridiculous, because if those men had taken those planes and really hated America, the great Satan, what would they have done with those planes? They would have flown them into the nearest nuclear power plants they could find. They didn't do that. I rest my case. The point is, if there is a war, we have facing us now the most catastrophic weapons, from nuclear to chemical to biological, that you have ever seen and that you cannot imagine. They have things on the shelf right now which would annihilate all life on this planet. These are biological weapons. There were 2 stories in the last 12 years that I've seen that talked about them as being real. They named them and identified them. One was a bacterium and one was a fungus. And then we have the whole world, which you never hear talked about anymore. Might be a good subject for a future TrendsJournal article. Nanotechnological weapons. Nanotech. Remember, one of the simplest nanotech weapons can be designed to destroy living cells. This is a fact. No one talks about nanotech weapons anymore, because that's the big frontier now. That's where it's all happening. So when these boys and girls get turned loose with these weapons in the next war, and we all know they love to kill people, God only knows what will happen. Let me just add as a caveat to that, one scientist, male or female, working in a BSL-5 weapons lab, which is designed and controls freeze-dried versions of these world-ending pathogens, could have a real crappy day and decide to say, "Hey, hell with all of you," and sneak something out of that lab and turn it loose. And that's the end. It could happen that easily. This is not science fiction either, as Gerald made the point. There really is no more science fiction. This stuff is all real. It's all confronting us. It's facing us right in the eyeballs.
Yep. And as I said, it's only going to, when you listen to both of these
they're punks.
these are, to me, are members of the anti-human race.
Yeah.
These are. I don't know people like this. Everything they talk about is anti-human, and I love listening to Mittens, missionary Mitt, the guy that hid in France during the Vietnam War. You know about that, right?
Oh yeah, Willard took off to France. They had 2. What, they have 4 missionaries in the whole country or something?
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about it. Sending a Mormon to convert the cigarette-smoking, caffeine-addicted, wine-loving,
Frenchman,
Bridget Bardot-enamored French.
The joke.
Oh, yeah. No wonder why they punched out Mittens when he was there, which they did. So listening to him and listening to Obama, it was warmongering. And they make it very clear, as they keep talking about, how the rest of the world has to obey what America believes.
Or else.
And here's my favorite part of all of this.
Mm-hmm.
These are the same guys that continually shoot off their mouths, along with all those other Republican and Democratic little slime balls that call themselves congressmen and senators. What they always talk about are our founding fathers.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to Washington. They'd be turning in their grave. They'd be puking listening to these guys talk.
How dare they talk about them? They don't belong on the same goddamn planet with them.
The founding fathers wanted no part of anything overseas. Nothing.
It's bad theater. It's disgusting theater.
And what's more disgusting is the people. I'm more disgusted with the Obama apologists than the Romney supporters.
I agree
because they
with
know
you.
better, but they don't have the courage.
No.
They don't have the courage to admit that they've been had.
Yeah, you're right. Reminds me of that.
And they have the intellect, and they don't have the courage. I find that disgusting because whether it's Jesus, Muhammad, or Buddha, the Quran or the Bible, there is no salvation for the hypocrite.
No, nor should there be. Called accountability.
But the others, the conservatives, the wacky conservatives that believe this stuff like, we got to get them over there before they get us over here, they actually believe it,
I can't believe they're still saying that kind of thing.
Yeah, but they say that, they believe this.
Yeah, I know.
The militarism. But they believe it. The liberals lie. They don't believe it. They're intellectually capable of knowing it's a lie, but they lack the self-respect, the dignity, the integrity, and the courage to admit that they've been had.
All very true.
And they're the ones that are leading us to destruction.
They are?
Because if they changed, it wouldn't go this way.
That's right.
You know, people forget, back in 2006, in those midterm elections, they voted the Republicans out. The people voted the Republicans out. Mm-hmm. They wanted no part of the Iraq or Afghan war.
Mm-hmm. Look what they got.
Look what they got.
And look what they're about to get, folks.
Yep.
Doesn't matter. When they look, the Russians have clearly made it clear, excuse my double word there, that there will be no no-fly zone over Syria. And what that is telling the West, the Zionist West, don't even think about it. It's not going to happen. We'll shoot your planes down. The Russians have said no more. Putin remains if you want to think about it, you remember Edgar Casey, folks? You do, Gerald.
Sure.
All right. Well, one thing Edgar Casey said in one of his trance readings, none of which were ever proven to be inaccurate or wrong, there were 15,000 of them. He said, one day Russia will be viewed as the hope of the world. Now, isn't that interesting? We're verging on that very thing right now, and if you look at it, they're the only thing standing between massacring a country of 80 million people and making Iraq look like child's play, and what's going on in Syria right now. They've turned their S-400s on Turkey, by the way. They have rearmed and re-aimed their S-400s, as you know, on Turkey. And Turkey, the next play will be, Gerald, in my view, Turkey will declare war on Syria.
You got it.
NATO will order Turkey to declare war on Syria.
Yep.
That's how it's going to go.
Yep. Because NATO wants to get into, Turkey wants to get into the EU.
Of course.
They've been keeping them out. This could be a bargaining chip for them.
That's their entree. That's their cachet.
And now we're
to get
seeing
in.
it spilling into Lebanon.
Yeah.
How much more does people have to see? And as I said, both of these guys are going to get us killed. And they're both running neck and neck to do it the quickest.
Let me ask you folks out there, can you honestly come up with a viable scenario given what we've been talking about tonight and what you've seen in the debates? I call them a debit because we gain nothing from it but loss. Can you think of a possible scenario given who is controlling this country and who is controlling the politicians, corrupt and crooked as they are, which is AIPAC, of course, and the other corporate nuts? Can you give me a scenario where world peace is coming? I'd love to hear it. I don't think you can. There's nothing out there. There's not one single marker that points toward peace.
I came up with a new term tonight. What these guys are spouting, mouth farts.
That works.
That works, right?
Sure. No,
these were mouth farts.
Punk kids.
That's all they kept doing.
Punk kids, exactly.
I know.
Just sickening.
I know.
Little brats. They look like they need their butts kicked, both of them.
I mean, Romney. Romney's like a Bush. He was born on third base and thought he hit a triple.
That's cute.
The same thing with George Bush II.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing is, Romney's as stiff as Bush. These white guys are really stiff, man.
Yeah.
But he's as stiff as Bush, but he could handle himself a lot better.
He can speak in full sentences.
Romney. Let's face it. Romney never. Do you want to vote for a guy that's never had a drink, been with the same? Come on, I don't want a guy like that. And I have to say this too. I'm not for the Mormons. To me, are a sect, and I saw them when I used to be in the business world, and they all do business with each other. And I don't like this tight knit religious group. Both of this Romney bragging. This was my favorite. That the Democrats didn't have God on his platform, on their platform, and he put God on the Republican platform. The God that I know, if they're talking about Jesus Christ, without speaking for Christ, I would assume that Christ would rather hang from a cross than be on either of these two guys' platforms.
Yeah, you get no arguments from me.
So I don't like this whole religious baloney thrown down my throat. And I don't like the fact that anybody telling any women what they should do with their bodies or what they believe. And if they're into their trip, hey, knock yourself out. I don't dig it, but don't tell me I have to go along with yours. I don't like tight guys like that. Don't tell me how to live. And that's all these guys are. None of these guys have been in the real world. They've been pampered all their lives. Little Harvard, Princeton, Yale boys. Daddy's boys. What are you, Romney, a businessman. Romney's a guy that knows how to do dirty deals really big. So let's call it what it is. And Obama's never worked a day in his life.
No, I never will either. Nope, not a chance. Gerald, thanks for sharing your thoughts on that despicable performance. It was as we said, but your point about the criticality of it and the war that we're all facing is absolutely paramount. Thank you, my friend. Be well.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
night. Gerald Celente. Just a couple of punks. They look like punks, smirking at each other, and just... the word class couldn't even get in the building with either one of them. We'll be right back with Hour 3.